Insurance agent suggested that we go individual units and lower the coverage to keep price per acre relatively close. It's been great for our operation.
Customize your crop insurance coverage at farmcreditil.com/crop insurance.
At SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln, our team makes it easy to get your flu shot and protect the people you care about most. Book your appointment now by clicking the SIU Family Medicine icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. This winter, when your high school basketball team has a game and you want to find highlights, think ILSportsWire. Matt Hart is the owner of the Hart Media Group, owner of WHOW, WEZC, and DeWittDailyNews.com, and he says the tagline of the company is connecting people, and ILSportsWire is the newest way they are doing that.
There's obviously video is very important, right? And it's this, it's this what we call the second screen, right? It's the phone, because now we don't watch television one screen at a time. We're constantly watching two screens. You're watching, you might be watching the University of Illinois football game on Saturday on your big screen, but you've got your phone there. And when a commercial comes on or a timeout comes on, or just one of your phone buzzes, you're watching that second screen. And we want to make sure that we're positioned to be on the second screen, whether it's social media, whether it's DeWittDailyNews.com or other platforms, or platforms that we don't know yet. We want to be there. And just like you mentioned, TikTok is the fastest growing platform out there. We have to make sure we're out there to connect with people where they are.
According to Jack Hart, founder of ILSportsWire, they are getting young people in communities like Clinton, Monticello, Taylorville, and Central A&M connected with a video camera to catch the highlights of games.
I have a wonderful team. I have about 5 people who work under me. They go out there with the camera. They get the films. They go in there and they send them either to me or to send to some of my editors. We put out all the videos and we do it in a timely fashion. One of my main goals out of SportsWire is we want to have all of those highlights, all those reels out as fast as we can, because it's important. You want to make sure you get after the game that you get to see what happened really at that game. I don't want to wait 2 to 3 days after to get out any of those clips. So my team has been absolutely spectacular this fall, hoping to hopefully expand it here, coming in with more high schools. And we're doing a great job. We have a great aspect, a great process that's really working in a successful way for us.
The IL in ILSportsWire actually stands for It's Local. Hart indicates that is the focus of everything they do.
We want to make sure that it is local. And a lot of people said Illinois sports. No, it's local. And going to our towns, every person on my team is a local person from that town that goes in there to those games. Lyman's from Monticello. Kylie's from Shelbyville. Lene, who works, she's from Taylorville. Central A&M, we have a girl from Central A&M there. We want to have the most local. Gavin's from Clinton. We try to bring in these local guys and local people because it's important. They know, as you said, they know the community, they know the courts, they know the fans, they know the students. And that's what we like. We want to keep it as local as we can because it's important that communities have that local focus and can be promoted in that way because a lot of times these small towns are overshadowed. And that's something we are bringing with ILSportsWire, and super excited to keep really expanding here in the future. I know there's several towns around here that we're looking at, hopefully in the future, to bring ILSportsWire too.
ILSportsWire.com has all the links to the social media platforms, but you can also search ILSportsWire on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, Monticello Police Chief warns of scams. The Farmer City Grocery Co-op is making steady progress in establishing itself in the community. And last week, the Farmer City Council took a step forward in helping with that effort. City Administrator Taylor Baxter told the Heart Media Group that the city has entered into a redevelopment agreement with the co-op for $100,000 in reimbursable expenses in the business district and TIF district.
We entered into a redevelopment agreement with the grocery co-op Farm to City Harvest Store, and the council decided to grant them up to $100,000 for reimbursable expenses in the TIF and business district. So we are very excited for that. This is going to be a great thing for our community, and we're excited to kind of solidify that. This has been in the works for a couple of years, and we were able to come to terms with that. And so, next step now is we've entered into that agreement. Laura, who's kind of been spearheading this along with Kurt Holman. Kurt from the DCDC has been helping them with this kind of on the back end, but Laura has done an excellent job communicating and kind of setting a vision for this and taking the lead with it. So we're excited to partner with them on it.
The grocery co-op had begun doing an online offering of various foods in a basket at a flat rate. Baxter indicates that is still how they are operating as they work towards a brick-and-mortar location on the Farmer City Square.
The last time that I talked with them, it was more, kind of somebody would come to them, this is what I want. They put little baskets together, and it is more of a limited, you contact them type thing, and they're not really going above and beyond that until they were ready, because they just sold the building. There were some back-end things that they were working on. There was one group that had it. They sold it to the co-op, so it's still within them. It was just some transactional things behind the scenes that they were working on that they needed to jump through. So it was no major news with that. That was expected.
According to Baxter, the city's support is a big step forward for the co-op's establishment because it will likely bring other players forward to support them. Among those is the DeWitt County Board.
Our piece was a big piece. We had a representative who was on the county board, and I forget his name. I met with him a couple of times, and I apologize, but he came and just talked about how the county is supportive of this project and they're going to provide funding for them. So I think this is going to kind of snowball once the city's involvement and support. And also, if they were going to go get external funding from a bank, having that agreement that the city is backing you with TIF dollars, that's huge for them because they know that they're going to get paid back. So it's good. It's all good info. A really good plan in place for hopefully for years to come that this is going to be a great endeavor for downtown.
Baxter indicates TIF districts are a very important piece for communities like Farmer City, and they help in the development of its downtown areas. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Closeout time is here for a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have a good selection of 25 Silverados remaining in regular and crew cab models with gas or diesel engines. Some with utility beds and dual roof rails. Also see our remaining Colorados, Trailblazers, even our full-size Suburban and Tahoes, all priced to move out. See our 25 inventory today at BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time is 19 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Scams have been a growing concern for law enforcement, especially as scammers utilize the development of technology. Monticello Police Chief Rob Bross indicates that it's roughly every 3 years that he notices a spike in unemployment scams, particularly with people involved in a school district or the state university system.
So we had a couple came in, and we see this about every 3 years or so. I'm not exactly sure how it hits, but it does. But anyone that's worked for a school district or the state university college system, they get a notification from unemployment that somehow they have applied for unemployment benefits. And that just popped up here a couple weeks ago. Here a few years ago, we had a rash of them. I think I took about 4 or 5 calls from local teachers. I think at one point the state put some sort of press release out. So obviously we encourage people, if you get anything from unemployment or anyone asking you for information for social security number, maiden name, date of birth, anything like that, don't give it out. Check and confirm. That's the biggest thing we try to tell people. And that's no matter if you get it in the regular postal service mail, if that's an email, if that's a phone call or a text message. Just don't give any information out until you can actually confirm exactly what it is.
The chief notes that scammers often use VPNs and other forms of online protection to greatly decrease the possibility of being tracked. It is this reason that proves why prevention is so important when it comes to scams.
We tell people that they'll get a random check in the mail. Oh, well, can I cash this and give it to you, or deposit it, do whatever I need to do, and then you can track them. The sad part is the people that use these things go through VPNs. It'll hit off 3 or 4 servers. There's no way for us to actually track it. And especially if they're in another country, it's slim to none where we can actually get anyone, quote, arrested. So we try to tell people, just don't give any information out. And if it's your company asking for information, make sure you contact your company or human resources and say, hey, is this legitimate, or is this a scam? And definitely, and I'm a big proponent of it, if somebody calls my cell phone, and whether that's personal or work, and if I don't have the number saved in there, it goes straight to voicemail. If it's important enough, then they'll leave a voicemail, I can call them back.
Scammers most often target the elderly. Chief Bross indicates that they will often impersonate a person's grandchild or family member and request that money be sent to them for a fake emergency.
They try to really target, and we've seen it quite a bit over the last few months, the elderly. And they'll yell, scream, say that they're your grandson or granddaughter, and, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. Please help me. Please help me. Don't tell mom and dad. I need $1,000, $10,000, whatever. And of course, they play on that panic, to the elderly community, and with the hopes of, oh, well, I don't want my grandchild to be in trouble. I'll just send the money. And usually if it's not cash, it's iTunes gift cards or Apple gift cards, something along those lines. And before you know it, someone's out, $2,000. So we definitely encourage people to, if they do start getting calls like that, or if they start seeing odd things on their credit report or bank information, their bank accounts, definitely call your bank first, get it flagged. You can contact the police in case you need a case number for insurance, or if some banks are requiring them now, because they don't want to be defrauded either. So that's not a problem here. There's some things that you can go, and we have a couple resources where people can also go through the Attorney General's office for identity theft. And that way just really covers your bases, and definitely, use the credit reporting companies to monitor your credit, your credit score. And then that way, if they see something odd, they can flag your account and let you know too. So you aren't in the dark and all of a sudden you're out, $2,000.
Phishing scams through text are another common way for scammers to try and take advantage of you. Chief Bross says in recent memory, they have come through posing as the Illinois Tollway Authority, saying you have unpaid tolls.
It's not every 2 or 3 months that I don't get a text message from a random number I don't know from the Illinois Tollway Authority. And they'll say, oh, you have, 5 unpaid tolls. You need to click on this link. And once you click on that link, I'm sure it downloads God knows, what kind of personal information about it. And then they have access to your phone. So like I said, I get that every few months. And I mean, I have one of those transponders. It's an easy pass. so I know it's good, and it's just a phishing scam. So definitely, if you get an email, text message, just delete it. Don't worry about opening it. We've had people call here and say, hey, the tollway authority says I owe them $53. Should I pay it? And then I ask them, have you been north of I-80? And they say no. I go, then you don't need to worry about it. But again, you get these messages, and the scammers look to put you in a panic. So maybe you don't think, straight, and you don't think through the process. And all you know is, oh my gosh, if I don't pay this 50 some odd dollars or 100, whatever it is, I'm going to be in trouble. They're going to suspend my license. Sometimes they'll throw out, we're going to get a warrant. So they play on your anxiety, and they'll put you in a panic. Sometimes it's easier just to take a breath, call us. We can take a look into it. There's a few things that the local police or sheriff's office can actually check to put your mind at ease, and then just delete the message, because there's absolutely no use to it, and it's a lot less anxiety for the person just to delete it.
The chief adds that AI is a growing concern for law enforcement as scammers develop ways to convince victims to trust them and get their money or personal information. The Cambridge Middle School FFA chapter in Henry County was honored with the Middle School Model of Excellence National Chapter Award at this year's National FFA Convention. Haley Gruber is the school's FFA advisor.
Yeah, so for growing leaders, one of the activities that we did was Quiz Bowl for Corduroy. So it was a contest where 8th grade students demonstrated their knowledge of FFA history. And so we had a Quiz Bowl contest where the student who won actually won a FFA jacket, so they can start their high school career with an FFA jacket. So that's very exciting. Another activity that we did for building communities was called Spring into Service. And the 7th graders, when they were learning about mechanics with Mr. Tabor, they built some wooden bud vases. And then in the spring, a couple of weeks later, they learned about floral design, and they made little arrangements, and they took them to the nursing homes and gave them to some of the residents there. So that was really good. For strengthening agriculture, we had an activity that we called Products of Our Toil. And so during the spring, when it was planting season, we actually had students drive tractors to school and bring in a planter. And so they talked a little bit about ag equipment and what that is about and how those things go into growing our food. We also had some activities that we did in the classroom with the pre-K and kindergarten students in like sensory bins and things like that for the students to learn just a little bit more about agriculture.
There are 65 middle school FFA members at Cambridge. Ag groups continue to monitor New World screwworm and bird flu headlines. Tasha Bunting serves as Director of Commodity Programs and Food Systems for Illinois Farm Bureau. She provided an update to RFD Radio.
One of those primary factors, at least on the beef side, is the New World screwworm, which USDA and animal health officials are definitely keeping very close eyes on in order to not only protect the herd here in the U.S., but also travelers and those who might have pets that might be traveling back and forth, and how if those animals maybe carry something back, how their local vets can identify an issue that may be kind of slipping through the cracks. But with all hands on deck and a lot of information going out to share, not only with animal health officials and veterinarians, but also producers, so they have a better understanding, because as you well know, it's been, how many decades since we've had to deal with this here in the States. We probably need to re-educate everyone on what they need to look for and how they need to protect their animals and themselves.
And Tasha, what about bird flu precautions?
I want to remind our poultry producers primarily is as we are in the midst of migration season, keep a watchful eye, especially on backyard production where it's a little bit more difficult to separate the wildlife from the backyard birds, and keep a watchful eye on them so that if there's any issues with bird flu that happen to start popping up, they can get that addressed as quickly as possible with their veterinarian.
Bunting says Illinois Farm Bureau will be leading a market study tour to Mexico next March. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device, all free, all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The government shutdown is one step closer to ending. Last night, the Senate took a procedural vote. Republicans, with the assistance of 8 Democrats, advanced a bill to fund the government through January. Once the Senate takes a final vote, assuming it approves the bill, the measure will go to the House, and if it wins approval there, it's on to President Trump. Meantime, the shutdown is messing up the travel plans of many Americans. The number of flight delays or cancellations so far today tops 2,500, according to FlightAware.com. Last night, a federal appeals court ruled the administration must fully fund SNAP food benefits for this month. It will have to happen soon unless...
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, ILSportsWire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In a thriller heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Monticello scored a touchdown as time expired, and a 2-point conversion attempt to win the game was intercepted, and Tolono Unity held on for a 21-20 win in the second round of the Class 3A playoffs Saturday afternoon in Tolono. Nolan Benny-Kemper converted 3 fourth downs on the final drive of the game, including a 4th down touchdown pass to Hayden Romano as time expired, setting up the chance for the Sages to pull off the upset of its bitter rival. But Benny-Kemper, as he had been most of the day, found himself under duress on the 2-point conversion, and his pass was intercepted, allowing Unity to escape with the win and a matchup with Williamsville next Saturday in the 3A quarterfinals. Monticello got off to a big start Saturday. The Rockets need just 2 plays to get inside the red zone on their first possession, but a fumble inside the 10-yard line was recovered by the Sages, who advantageously scored a touchdown when Benny-Kemper finished the drive with a 1-yard sneak at the goal line. After Monticello held the Rockets to a 3-and-out on its next possession, Zeke Young hauled in a tipped pass and raced it 75 yards for the touchdown to put the Sages up 14-0 with 3 minutes and 29 seconds to play in the second quarter. However, Unity would score the game's next 21 points. It started with Trey Hoggard's 9-yard run to open the second quarter, and then Crew Eckstein rumbled in from 8 yards to tie the game at 14-14. The score would remain tied until Dane Eisenmenger used a sneak to score from a yard out to put Unity up 21-14 with 9:49 left in the fourth quarter. The 2 senior quarterbacks were both brilliant. Eisinger finished 13 of 19 for 186 yards. Eckstein had 22 carries for 145 yards and a touchdown. Hoggard finished with 51 total yards of offense. Tyler Henry had 54 total yards of offense for Unity, and Maddox Sutherland added 2 catches for 79 yards. Benny-Kemper was 26 of 37 for 376 yards and 2 touchdowns, and added 20 yards on 13 carries with another score for the Sages. Young finished with 7 receptions for 180 yards, while Forrest Rodden added 5 catches for 68 yards. Jake Robinson had 44 yards on 4 receptions, and Romano finished with 4 receptions and 39 yards with a touchdown for the Sages. Benny-Kemper and Young were Co-State Bank of Bement players of the game. Monticello finishes its season 8-3. Williams threw a touchdown pass and scrambled for the go-ahead score in the fourth quarter, sending the Bears to a 24-20 victory over Jackson Dart and the struggling New York Giants. Led by Williams, Chicago scored the last 14 points after Young-Ho Koo's 19-yard field goal gave New York a 20-10 lead with 10 minutes and 19 seconds left. C.J. Gardner-Johnson had 2 sacks for the Bears, including one on Russell Wilson on a key third down in the final period. Williams sparked the rally with a 2-yard touchdown pass to Roma Odunze, making it 20-17 with 3 minutes and 56 seconds left. Odunze finished with 6 receptions for 86 yards as he was shut out during last week's 47-42 win at Cincinnati. After New York stalled and Jamie Gillen had a 26-yard punt, Williams went back to work. He found Luther Burden III for 27 yards to the Giants' 19. One play later, Williams scored on a 17-yard run to make it 24-20 with 1 minute and 47 seconds remaining. New York had one last chance after Chicago took the lead. Russell Wilson scrambled for 11 yards, but the Giants ended up turning the ball over on downs at their own 46. Wilson entered at the start of the fourth because Dart was being evaluated for a concussion. The rookie scored 2 touchdowns on design runs, becoming the first quarterback in NFL history with at least 1 rushing touchdown in 5 straight games. The Giants had a 17-10 lead when Wilson came in, but he wasn't able to close it out. The 22-year-old Dart was shaken up after he was hit by defensive lineman Austin Booker and Gardner Johnson on a third-quarter run, resulting in a fumble. He was in for 2 more plays at the end of the period before Wilson came in. Dart finished with 66 yards on 6 carries for New York's 4th consecutive loss. He was 19 of 29 passing for 242 yards. Dart and Darius Slayton helped New York's offense find its stride after a slow start. Slayton made a one-handed catch for 31 yards at the end of the first quarter, and then he had a 38-yard reception on the opening play of the second. Dart capped the 80-yard drive with a 3-yard touchdown run, tying it at 7 with 13 minutes and 6 seconds left in the first half. It was his 6th rushing touchdown of the season. The Giants took their first lead on Koo's 32-yard field goal in the final seconds of the first half. Koo stepped in for Graham Gano, who was sidelined by a neck injury. The Giants host Green Bay next Sunday, and the Bears go to Minnesota next Sunday. Tyreek Coleman's 24 points off the bench led Illinois State to a 76-65 victory over Cornell on Sunday. Coleman shot 6 for 8 and a 10 for 13 from the free throw line for the Redbirds. Chase Walker shot 5 of 11 from the field and 3 for 4 from the line to add 13 points. Johnny Kinziger shot 5 for 12, including 1 for 3 from beyond the arc to finish with 11 points. The Big Red were led in scoring by Cooper Nord, who finished with 19 points. Adam Sang-Hinton added 12 points for Cornell. Casper Sepp also had 10 points and 2 steals. Illinois State took a 24-18 lead in the first half with a 15-0 run led by 16 first-half points from Coleman. Illinois State carried a 34-32 lead into the break. Illinois State used a 13-2 run in the second half to build a 12-point lead at 50-38 with 11 minutes and 41 seconds left in the half before finishing off the win. Green Bay hosts Philadelphia tonight after losing to the eventual Super Bowl champion Eagles twice last season. The Packers opened their 2024 campaign with a 34-29 loss to the Eagles in Brazil before falling to them 22-10 at Philadelphia in an NFC wildcard playoff game. Both teams are on pace to return to the playoffs. The Packers gained star power since the postseason loss by acquiring defensive end Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys shortly before the season. Green Bay leads the NFC North, but has endured surprising losses to the Cleveland Browns and Carolina Panthers. Philadelphia owns a commanding lead in the NFC East and shares the conference's best record with Tampa Bay, Seattle, and the LA Rams. With such a crowd of teams at the top of the NFC standings, this game could help determine playoff positioning. For the Packers, it's also a measuring stick. The Eagles were busy around the trade deadline and added some key pieces, including edge rusher Jalen Phillips from Miami. They also landed 2-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jair Alexander from Baltimore. Alexander played 7 years with the Packers before his stint with the Ravens this season. The trio of bye-week trades started with the acquisition of nickel cornerback Michael Carter II from the New York Jets. Brandon Graham also returned to the Eagles after a 37-year-old defensive end concluded his brief retirement. Graham has 76.5 career sacks to rank 3rd in team history. The Packers will be playing their first full game since losing star tight end Tucker Kraft to a torn anterior cruciate ligament. Kraft had 32 catches for a team-high 489 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. Luke Musgrave is likely to take over as the first-string tight end. The Packers took Musgrave in the 2nd round and Kraft in the 3rd round of the 2023 NFL Draft. A.J. Brown is still an Eagle after rumors swirled around the trade deadline that franchise was open to trading the wide receiver. Brown has twice this season had less than 10 yards receiving in a game, and the 5-time 1,000-yard receiver is well off that pace. Green Bay's Brandon McManus has gone 4 for 7 on field goal attempts since returning from the quadriceps injury that sidelined him for 2 games. The Packers still have kicker Lucas Haversick on their active roster. Haversick booted a franchise record 61-yard field goal while McManus was sidelined. De'Aaron Fox shined enough Saturday to inspire San Antonio Spurs teammate Devin Vassell to describe the star guard's season debut simply as Fox being Fox. After missing the first 2+ weeks of the season recovering from a hamstring injury, Fox returned to the Southwest Division leading Spurs with 24 points on 9 for 14 shooting in a victory against New Orleans. With Fox set to make his first road appearance of the campaign Monday versus the Chicago Bulls, the Spurs know things might not always appear so seamless. At least that's what this Fox says, reminding the basketball world that Saturday marked his first game since March, and when he underwent surgery to repair a torn tendon in his left pinky finger shortly after arriving from Sacramento in a 3-team trade. Fox led 8 Spurs who score in double figures while adding 3 rebounds and 3 assists in more than 31 minutes. Victor Wembanyama followed Fox with 18 points and grabbed 18 rebounds, giving the second-year standout his first double-double since October 30th. Now the Spurs will try to snap a 6-game losing streak against the Bulls going back to February of 2023. Chicago has lost 2 straight overall and 3 of 4, making a scorching start to the season. The Bulls struggled to contain star Giannis Antetokounmpo and Donovan Mitchell on Friday and Saturday. Now comes the challenge of stopping the two-headed terror of a healthy Fox and Wembanyama. This, with usual scoring leaders Josh Giddey and Nikola Vucevic struggling through slow nights in Cleveland, Isaac Okoro and reserve Jalen Smith pace the offense. Bulls coach Billy Donovan says the attack must find a way to collectively generate more spacing and penetration, and can find examples from the foes that defeated them over the weekend. Chicago squandered a 19-point second-quarter lead against the Cavaliers and a 16-point lead in the third quarter. Vucevic is averaging 24.8 points and 11.2 rebounds in his past 5 games against the Spurs, while Patrick Williams has scored in double figures in 5 straight games versus San Antonio. Connor Bedard had a goal and 2 assists to lead the Chicago Blackhawks to a 5-1 win over the Detroit Red Wings on Sunday. Teuvo Teravainen, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Oliver Moore also scored, and Andre Burakovsky added an empty net goal for the Blackhawks, who have won 3 straight. Arvid Soderblom made 45 saves, and Artyom Leshinov had 2 assists, giving him 4 assists in his last 3 games. Bedard scored on a power play 59 seconds in after Dylan Larkin was penalized for tripping. Bedard has 3 goals in his last 3 games. Bertuzzi has 6 goals in 3 games after getting a hat trick in the third period against the Canucks on Wednesday. Larkin scored at 4 minutes and 19 seconds of the first period for the Red Wings, losers of 3 straight, and John Gibson made 15 saves. The Blackhawks host the Devils on Wednesday. The Red Wings host Anaheim on Thursday. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast.